Hello learners, welcome to NAS Studio. This is live Vidya program for environmental science in a secondary course of NIOS. As we know that we have talk about human societies and deforestation, now we will move the next section. And as we know that developmental activities like construction, transportation and manufacturing goods not only deplete our natural resources but also produce large amount of waste. And that waste leads to pollution of air, water, soil and oceans and global warming and acid rains too. So, untreated or improperly treated waste is a major cause of pollution of rivers and environmental degradation, causing ill effects, health effects and loss of productivity too. So, during this program we will discuss about major causes of pollution, their effects on environment and various measures that can be taken to control such pollutions. So, this is lesson number 10, environmental pollution of module 4, contemporary environmental issues. I am Nilam Gupta, course coordinator of environmental science. Welcome you all in this program. So, what we will discuss during this program, so we will discuss what is the objective of this program. So, first we define pollution, what is pollution and various types of pollution, their causes, control and ill effect and different pollutants causing pollution. Basically during this program we will talk about air pollution. So, now what is environmental pollution? So, environmental pollution is the addition of any harmful undesirable substances into the environment as a result of human activities, and you are seeing there are various photographs which sees industrial pollution, garbage, traffic, all causes pollution or undesirable or harmful substances into the atmosphere or air, and all these pollution, all these activities, who is the responsible person? Is a human. So, environmental pollution is one of the greatest problem that the world is facing today, and we are facing so many pollution types of pollutions. It will not be wrong to say that industrial revolution is indeed the main reason behind environmental pollution. So, all the activities like we have already said, construction, manufacturing product and transportation are the root cause of the pollution. So, these are the main man-made activities, and why these activities is responsible? Because of fast population growth, rapid urbanization, excessive industrialization and use of pesticides and fertilizers in agriculture to grow more food for more humans, more population we can say. So, as I have said that pollution is an addition of unwanted and harmful substances adding into the environment, thereby not only causing health hazards but also causing harm to agriculture and livestock too. So, the most important thing that comes to our mind is what are these unwanted harmful substances that are so dangerous for our environment. So, these harmful or undesirable substances may be physical, chemical or biological, which are unintentionally released into the environment, and these are called pollutants, and their addition to the environment makes the soil, air, water and other natural resources harmful or unfit to humans and other living beings, and they are also responsible for the loss of our crop productivity. So, this is the pollution model. Pollutants are transported by air or water, they enter into the environment and they build up in the environment and assimilated by the environment, and when they assimilated in the environment they cause causes damages. So, when they enter in the environment, pollutants adversely affect soil, water, air, crop productivity and other natural resources too. So, now we are talking about types of pollutants. They may be persistent pollutants or non-persistent pollutants. Persistent pollutants are the chemicals that remain in the environment for extended periods, resist degradation and can accumulate in living organisms, posing a threat to the human health and ecosystem too. These pollutants, often referred as a forever chemicals, are typically organic and can be either made up of either man-made or natural. In case of non-persistent pollutants, they are also known as biodegradable pollutants, are substances that can be easily broken down by natural processes like decomposition or microbial activities. So, examples include sewage, paper product and vegetable waste. So, other type we can categorize pollutant into primary pollutant and secondary pollutant. Primary pollutant and secondary are we can also classify as a biodegradable and non-biodegradable. So, we will discuss primary and secondary pollutants. What are the primary pollutants? Are those pollutants which after their formation enter the environment and remain as such. And examples of the primary pollutants are nitric oxide formed by bacterial decay or by lightning flashes resulting into combination of the nitrogen and oxygen of the air becomes a pollutant if they present in excessive amount. Similarly, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide are the also known as primary pollutant. In case of secondary pollutants are those harmful material which are formed by chemical reactions between the primary pollutants and in the atmosphere or hydrosphere. Examples are hydrocarbons. So, biodegradable pollutants can be broken down naturally by microorganisms. In case of non-biodegradable pollutants persist in the environment, doesn't decompose easily. Example of biodegradable pollutants includes organic waste like food scraps and yard waste. But while non-biodegradable pollutants include plastics, metals and some chemicals. So, we can say that these pollutants are responsible for causing different kind of pollution. So, now we discuss what are these different types of pollution. We know we pollute air, water and other natural soil, other natural resources. So, types of pollution includes air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, radiation pollution, noise pollution and thermal pollution and plastic pollution and many other types of pollutions. So, as we say, thermal pollution is yet another one. So, now so many pollution have already been added in the environment, but major forms of pollution include air pollution, water pollution, litter, noise pollution, plastic pollution, soil contamination, radioactive contamination, thermal pollution, light pollution and visual pollution. So, look at the figure. There are different types of pollution: air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, noise pollution and radiation pollution, thermal pollution and plastic pollutions. In our course, we are discussing air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, noise pollution, radiation pollution and thermal pollution. So, let us know about the causes and ill effect of each of the type pollution, but as I say in the beginning, we will discuss here air pollution. So, let me begin with air pollution. So, emission of pollutant into the air or atmosphere in such a concentration that may have an adverse effect either directly or indirectly on human beings, animals and vegetation. So, suspended particulate matter and gaseous pollutants are the main cause of air pollution. So, there are two types of matter which are main cause of pollutants of the air pollution, that is suspended particulate matter or gaseous pollutants. Suspended matters, particulate matter or SPM is also called because these pollutants remain suspended in air for a long time period. So, their size ranges from 0.00 micrometer to 500 micrometer in diameter, and particles less than 10 micrometer float and move freely with the air current. Particles which are more than 10 micrometer in diameter settle down at the bottom, while those less than 0.02 micrometer form persistent aerosols. Suspended particulate matter consists of smoke, soot, fly ash, dust, particles of lead, silica, asbestos, cement, grit, all are suspended particulate matter. So, there are some figures or example of suspended particulate matter: fly ash, smoke, dust, soot, lead and other metal particles. So, fly ash is given out mostly by thermal power plants as a byproduct of a coal burning. Besides causing harm to soil and vegetation, fly ash may cause heavy metal pollution in water bodies too. Fly ash now being used for making bricks and also is used as a landfill material. Lead and other metals too are suspended particulate matter that cause air pollution, and tetraethyl lead is an anti-knock agent in petrol for smooth running of vehicle. The lead particles coming out from the exhaust pipes of vehicles gets mixed up with the air and cause air pollution. Lead mixed with water and food can create cumulative poisoning and have long term effects in children. Oxides of iron, aluminum, manganese, zinc and other metals affect the psychological, biochemical, reproductive and developmental disorders in plants too. During mining operations and metallurgical processes, these metals get deposited on the plant as dust. So, now we have talked about, first we have talked about suspended particulate matter in detail. Now, we will talk about gaseous pollutants. So, gases that causes air pollution are nitrogen oxide, sulfur dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, hydrogen fluoride, methane, chlorofluorocarbons, unburned hydrocarbons like benzene and ethylene. Having talked about the various causes of air pollution, let us talk about the various sources of air pollution. And sources of air pollution may be natural or and as well as man-made. So, first we will talk about natural sources of air pollution. This include volcanic activities that releases sulfur dioxide and particulate matter, forest fire which produces carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide and nitrogen oxide, lightning produces nitrous oxide, anaerobic decomposition of bacteria produces nitrogen oxides and sulfur oxides. So, now we will talk about the anthropogenic or man-made sources of air pollution. Anthropogenic sources of air pollution are smoke, photochemical smoke, ionizing radiation, radioactive elements, pesticides, heavy metals, automobile exhaust and industries. These are the main sources of anthropogenic air pollution. Why do we want to study air pollution? Reason is it is harming our body in many ways. So let us know about the ill effects of air pollution. So we will take a little break. After break we will discuss health impact or ill effect of air pollution on our human health. Before taking a break, we have discussed about what is environmental pollution, different types of pollutants, and we have also discussed different types of pollution. We have discussed about air pollution, sources of air pollution, and that is natural and man-made. And now we are talking about how air pollution affects our health. So health effects of air pollution. You can see our whole body is affected by different types of pollution. It may be air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, thermal pollution. Different types of pollution affects our body in different ways. So as you see in the figure or slide, most of the body parts are affected. So carbon dioxide, particulate matter, ozone, sulfur dioxide, oxides of sulfurs, nitrogen, lead, and volatile organic components are the main component of air pollution, water pollution, and soil pollution. And these compounds affected human health as headache, in the form of headache, fatigue, respiratory illness, cardiovascular illness, nerve damage, cancer risk, nausea, skin irritation, and sometimes skin irritation is caused by through bacteria, parasites, and chemical impacts also seen our health in the form of various waterborne diseases. So now we are talking about how does air pollution affects our respiration or respiratory system. So there are so many problems. Suspended particulate matter causes breathing problems and allergic cold, aggravates asthma and bronchitis in patients, and causes lung disorders too. Pollutant gases, gaseous pollutants cause irritation in eyes, throat and lung infection. Liver, kidney, spleen and nervous system too are affected, and also causes gastroenteritis. Heart related diseases tends to increase due to air pollution. So gases or pollutants are not affect our health, they are also affected our plants' health too. So many people tends to develop terminal ailment such as cancer. Hydrocarbon, besides damaging the internal organs, also causes cancer and interferes with the development of RBC. So as we have these air pollutants not only affect our health but our plants' health too. So how can in what manner plants affected through this air pollution? Effect of air pollution on plants can see degeneration of chlorophyll causing chlorosis in plants, falling of leaf, reduced growth, moting on plant means yellow spots on, you can see yellow spots on plant leaves, low productivity in plants, and in severe cases death of the plant. And plant will not survive if there are so many pollutants absorbed in the plant leaves by the plant leaves. So air pollution is also responsible for two major ecological problems, that is greenhouse effect and ozone hole. So now we will talk little bit about greenhouse effect. So you are seeing this slide. In this slide you can see the greenhouse effect. You are seeing some of the radiation, solar radiation passes through the atmosphere. About half of the solar radiations are absorbed by the earth's surface, and some of our incoming solar radiations reflected back from the earth's surface as infrared radiation, which have a lower energy than the solar radiation. So the infrared radiations that are trapped by the earth's surface cannot pass through the atmospheric gases like carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, water vapor, and chlorofluorocarbons. So these radiations are converted into heat energy, which brings about the warming of the lower atmosphere, the increase in carbon dioxide in the atmosphere intensifies the greenhouse effect, and that leads to global warming, and in other words we can say an increase in the temperature of the earth. So now we will talk about in very brief about ozone hole. So there are other ecological threats posed by the air pollution is ozone hole, and this slide talks about ozone layer and its depletion. So we know that ozone layer is very important for the existence of life on earth, because this layer absorbs most of the harmful UV radiations of the earth, preventing them from reaching the earth. So I am sure that you all know about UV radiations are very harmful to our body and may be one of the cause of skin cancer. And besides skin cancer, it may be sunburn, eye defect like cataract, and reduced productivity of the plants. There are some other ill effect of the ultraviolet radiations we observed in 1985. Farman et al. Found that the ozone layer has thin out over Antarctica, and CFCs, nitrogen oxide, methyl bromides and chlorine are some of the ozone depleting substances. So, CFCs or fluorocarbon are the compound we use in refrigeration as a coolant. They are also used in fire extinguisher, in cleaning solvents and aerosol sprays. When these are released into the atmosphere, they react with the ozone gas which are present in the ozone layer and completely destroy this. Thus, or we can say, more UV radiations of the sun reaches out from sun to our earth. So, actually what is happening is that the chlorine present in the CFC, on reaching the ozone layer splits the ozone molecules to form oxygen, thereby reducing the amount of ozone. Reduction of ozone umbrella or ozone shield is known as ozone hole or thinning of the ozone layer. So, we now know that sources of air pollution. We also know that ill effect of the air pollution. So, the control and prevention is our hand, or we can contribute to reduce air pollution. So, air pollution cannot be fully prevented, but it can be controlled. So, let us see how we can reduce air pollution. So, now we will discuss how to control pollution, especially air pollution. So, we can making sustainable food choices, recycling, reusing and reducing waste, making sustainable energy choice, keep chemicals away from water bodies and making sustainable transportation choices, and we can educate others to contribute to reduce air pollution, and we can also reduce waste or we can manage waste. So, this slide shows you can most favored waste management is prevention and the least favored is disposal of waste by storing or burying waste. Reuse and recycling of waste material is an effective way of reducing air pollution. So, aim of waste management is to get the maximum practical benefits from products with minimum amount of waste generation. So, the foremost is prevention of air pollution. So, what can we do that? Because our role is very important. So, minimize the emission of pollutant at source only, which means selection of suitable good quality fuel like low sulfur coal in power plant, use of CNG and PNG, in short use of cleaner eco-friendly fuel at home, in power plants and industries. Selection of suitable site for industrial use, operational changes, which means employing eco-friendly industrial processing units, installing devices in industries that will reduce the release of pollutants like gravitational settling chambers, filters, electrostatic precipitators, scrubbers, inertial collectors, to name a few. There are so many more you can identify or you can search. Use of tall chimneys reducing air pollutants at ground level. There should be through management of combustion operations and proper monitoring of emission sources. Industries which pollute the environment should be closed down. Besides industrial regulation, even vehicular pollution needs to be controlled. The best way to control vehicular pollution would be a walk or ride on a bicycle or pooling. Whenever and wherever possible, use public transport like bus, train or metro or subway, whatever is available in the place you live. You can take advantage of the time to relax, read or catch up with the news. Instead of doing your errand over a span of few days, do them in a single day. carpool to school or to workplace, and most important is to get a regular maintenance work done for your vehicle. Use pollution free vehicles that run on electricity or CNG. Some of the other preventive control measures are prevention of burning of solid waste, tree planting to reduces air pollution. So plant more and more trees and have a green belt area wherever possible. Eliminate deforestation, promote afforestation. Limit fossil fuel use, invest in alternative renewable energy strategies like the use of solar energy, wind energy and geothermal energy. Phase out of the CFCs, use of CFCs. Use energy efficient lighting, use energy efficient appliances, segregation of waste, pre-treatment at source, sterilization of room will help in checking indoor pollution. Last but not the least, disposal of waste should be done in a scientific way. So, some of the important modes of waste disposal are recycling, preparation of compost, incineration, landfill and sewage treatment. So, we have talked about air pollution, its sources and how can we give up a contribution to control or reduce air pollution. So, now we will wrap up this program in the form of few points, that is what you have learned. Nature's components such as air, water, forest and fisheries are the source resources exploited by the humans. Root cause of pollution is the fast population growth, rapid urbanization, excessive industrialization and use of pesticides in agriculture. Pollutants are agents which are directly or indirectly responsible for environmental pollution. Air, water, noise, radiation, soil, plastic and thermal are the different types of pollution of real concern, and air pollution is a result of industrial and certain domestic activities. Suspended particulate matters and certain gases like carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxide are the air pollutant, and air pollutant not only harm our body and cause various disorders, it also affects the growth and development of plants. Use of cleaner fuel like biogas, CNG, PNG or electricity to prevent air pollution. Segregation of waste, pre-treatment at source, sterilization of rooms help in checking indoor pollution. Prevention and control of industrial pollution can be reduced by using cleaner fuels, filters, electrostatic precipitators, inertial collectors, scrubber and many other devices. Use of chlorofluorocarbons cause damage to the ozone layer, causing thinning of the ozone layer called ozone hole over the Arctic and the Antarctic region, an increase in global temperature or heating effect by greenhouse gases, that is known as greenhouse effect. So, this is all about the air pollution, what is pollution, different types of pollutants and causes, prevention and control of air pollution. We will come again to meet you in a new program of environmental science. Till then, goodbye and thank you.